technical coordinator for TOSAT project, and I'm also working for TÜBİTAK, TOEK, which is the Turkish National Institute of Electronics and Cryptology. I'm trying to give a broad overview of FOSS projects and Linux initiations in Turkey. I have been author of 4 Linux books up to now, and I've been in Linux business and hobbyist for 13 years. I have written more than 250 articles in various magazines, etc. Founded many institutions, managed Linux group in Turkey, and this is my agenda. I will talk about Pardus Linux, in which you have just seen here. This is the Linux distribution project that is led by TÜBİTAK, my institution. I will talk about some success stories regarding Linux, and then I will talk about the tendency and inclination of people, home users, and public administrations regarding Linux and open source. And then I will talk about some problems behind Linux adoption in Turkey, and talk about what developers do and what do they think regarding Linux and open source software. Pardus is our, we think that it's the biggest project ever. In 2004, we decided to make Linux distributions, and some debates have been popping up regarding on how to build a Linux distribution. We decided that it should be open, it should be distributed, it should cover the full community in Turkey and possibly in the whole world. Our main target was Turkish-speaking people who are computer literate and public administrators, and also then we decided to extend our vision to companies and corporate systems. And this was our plan. It was rolled out at the end of 2003, and in 2004 we had a design phase. Next year we had the development phase, and in 27th of December we rolled out the first Linux Pardus version 1.0, and in 2006 we are trying to build more community around Pardus, and 1 year later we are planning to implement very big migrations around Pardus Linux. As I told you, Pardus 1.0 was made public 3 months ago, and until now, only 1 month, Pardus was the first case in 150 media contacts, including newspapers, magazines, and TV. There were more than 40,000 downloads regarding Pardus, and I believe that there are more than 60,000 people in Turkey who have installed Pardus in their homes, in their companies, etc., in schools also. Today, there are 16 full-time and half-time Pardus developers working in TÜBİTAK, and we have more than 30 SDN accounts. SDN means a repository of software. We have 30 SDN accounts for Pardus developers currently working for Pardus project. And let me tell you some technologies behind Pardus. There are 48,000 lines of code, which is only produced just for Pardus solely. And there are 53,000 lines of package specification only for Pardus. Currently, Pardus only occupies 1 CD space, but you can also download software that occupies 3 CD spaces from the internet. There are some new technologies with Pardus. Pardus is not based on any distribution at the moment. We have a configuration manager of our own, which is called Çomar. We have an installer that installs Pardus desktop on your system in only 5 clicks. That's called Yalı. We have a package manager called PC. It says packages installed successfully as intended. Yes, if you intend it installs packages in your system. And PC, in fact, makes up the core of YALA, which I said before, which is the Linux installer, part installer, and YALA can install one full CD in your hard disk in only 10 minutes, which is, in my knowledge, the fastest installing Linux distribution on Earth. Müdür is a new fast init system. It is in fact on SVN repository and will be available for Pardus 1.1. What it does is to start up, boot up a Pardus system in only 20 seconds, I'm sorry, in a moderate system, which is, for example, in my machine, I can boot Windows in 40 seconds or something like this, but with a new version of Müdür, which is the init system of Pardus, I can boot up in only 22 seconds. Also, Müdür can shut down the Pardus system in only 9 seconds. In fact, these are only some numbers, but it makes people's mind whether they want to install a Linux system or not. We are trying to focus on usability and desktop ability. That means there is only one software in a Pardus CD that is used for doing only one task. Okay. I can take your questions now or later. It doesn't matter. It's up to you. Let's talk about some Pardus success stories by now. For example, Manisa City Health Organization, they used to have 400 desktops with all Windows installed. After introduction of Pardus 1.0, they started to migrate their machines to Pardus, and they already migrated 50 desktops, and their plan is to migrate or switch all their desktops to Pardus in only 3 months of time. The key points for this institution to choose Pardus as their new desktop is, they see it as our distro, as a national distro, okay? And they can also hack up their phone, call us, and they can get the answer immediately reached in a very small amount of time by email. This is why they started to switch to Pardus on their desktops. In a very short amount of time, there were many other success stories built around Pardus. To mention a few, these 4 success stories will be the driving force for Pardus in other public administrations, in my opinion. For example, Turkish Military Reception Division. I don't know what it's called in English, but you apply for military and you first go to this Turkish Military Reception Division. Hopefully you understood what it means. I don't know. Okay. There are more than 600 points.
Who the institution that drafted the people?
That took the people and made them bureau and made them soldiers and run them for 12 months. Okay. There are more than 600 points distributed around Turkey, such as those reception divisions. In progress, what is in progress is that they are going to install Pardus in more than 600 points, each having around 10 computers. That means 6,000 computers affecting 15,000 military staff. And the second success is Kocaeli City Police Station. They are at the moment migrating more than 300 desktop computers from Windows. University of Inonu is planning to migrate 100 desktops from Fedora to Pardus Linux, and started to migrate 600 computers I have just mentioned in only 2 months of time. These are smiling Pardus developers. Okay, someone are partly smiling. The photographer said, "Please smile, please smile." I want to take photographs. This was in fact an early photograph of Pardus developers. We are at the moment 16 people around developing Pardus, and this is another screenshot that I just took. Technical framework, and there is a weak or infrastructure in private institutions. Administrative adequacy means mental confirmation of executives or decision makers for free or open source software, and we see that in public and private medium, and we are trying to make those mental confirmation of decision makers or mental adequacy of them as much as higher with Pardus technologies. Okay? So, what can we say about Turkish developers' global post-adoption? There is an inclination towards post-adoption in global project for Turkish developers. There are only 5 KD developers that are located in Turkey, and only 3 GNOME developers I know of who have SMA account access in Turkey. There are 2 projects nominated in 100 SourceForge Community Choice Awards and 4 projects nominated in Global Summer of Code. These are in fact really less numbers, they are not quite much. But the problem is that all Balkan countries, as far as I can see from here, from Scott, is that we are not supposed to know or get into deeper into post technologies, post products, etc. But Turkish people, Turkish developers' current problems are they don't know English very well. In order to learn English, they have to go to a secondary school in which they can be taught English, or they have to attend a very good university, and after 4 years they can learn English, okay? And without English, as you know, developing software, free and open source software, on internet, and with the help of other people, sometimes may be cumbersome, may bother people. There's a general lack of free and open source software developers in Turkey, because I will tell you why in fact this. And normally, you know, students are poor people. They hardly get money from their families. They try to earn money by doing some activities in their spare time, and they can hardly sometimes earn money by developing a free software and selling it. Okay. And in Turkey, usually women tend to work in social, take part in social works, and they rely on service type of jobs. And you rarely see women or girls coding in front of some computer. I mean, I'm not anytime talking about free or open source. I'm just talking about straight coding, okay? We have only 2 women bloggers in Turkish Planet Linux. We have something like 70 bloggers. Unfortunately, we don't have any women developers in Pardus, and I haven't seen any women who is interested in developing some kind of software in Pardus. Hopefully this will change in the future, but I don't know. And regarding the adoption of free open source software in Turkey, we used to have a very big barrier in front of us. Okay, Turkish has its own code page, ISO 8859-9. It is Latin 5, and it is only produced for Turkish language years ago. Okay, we have a problem. That is 2 items. There are 2 problems, in fact. We have, here you see a letter E, okay? If you want to make an uppercase of E, then it becomes E again, okay? We have a letter E with a dot on it, okay? This is the uppercase. If you want to lowercase it, it becomes E, okay? This was the heart of thousands of endless problems while we were trying to use Linux in your language, in my language. However, many of the Linux distributions have chosen to switch to UTF-8, and some of these problems have disappeared. However, we still have such problems regarding only stemming from Turkish, okay? There are some localizations take place. However, these localizations sometimes may be slow. KD, I'm reading the KD localization. This is about 78 or 79% at the moment. But including those with beta and those with playground. Okay, I mean most of the desktop you can see in my machine is you can see it in Turkish. GNOME is 100% localized, and this is led by me also. OpenOffice is 99.9% localized, it's led by me also. And Firefox and Thunderbird localizations should be 100%. They are led by other friends. And for example, KDE, we have 130,000 strings, which constitutes of more than 720,000 lines of lines. I mean, we have 50 volunteers here, and we are running the KDE.org.tr. Once upon a time, I asked a translation company that how much do you offer from us? I mean, how much do you want to get from us if you want to translate this much string? And they said $200,000. And really, more than 50 volunteers in more than 80 years have done a very incredible job, in my opinion. These are, I have three statistics here, three pie charts. And these three statistics have been collected by İlker Tevir, who is a colleague of me. And he works in ULABİM, it's National Network of Turkey. National Network Agency of Turkey. İlker tried to collect information that flows up from national ULABİM networks, and he came up with this pie chart. Okay? But this pie chart is generated with only flow in ULABİM networks, and it only includes 10,000 people's clicks. Okay? Microsoft IIS is used by more than 50% of all servers that can be identified by ULABİM, and Apache is about 30% of servers at the moment. Again, I'm speaking about the servers located in Turkey. Those servers running Apache web server is like the following. Linux constitutes of 42% of all servers like Apache, and Windows constitutes of 80% of all servers. And Linux is 35 at the moment. Okay? So if you ask me which distributions do those servers run, and I will show you this pie chart again. Okay, Fedora, I think it's biggest. Yeah, Fedora and Red Hat share 25% both, and Maneva 15%, Debian 17%, etc.
So you don't use Pardus as server?
No, this one has been, this statistic has been made in January 2006. So Pardus was only 1 month, had a 1 month distribution. Okay. Any questions here? Yeah? Okay. So these are the cases in public administrations. I would like to talk about what the State Planning Agency is doing at the moment. There have been 3 reports that have been prepared for State Planning Agency. The first one is the document standards for public administrations. In this document standards, the State Planning Agency have decided that all the public administrations should use one of OpenOffice document format, or PDF format, or HTML format, or Windows Word format. And in the next release, in 2008, okay, this document, this report will be modified like this. All public administrations will be forced to use only open document format in their documents, inside and outside. Okay. The second report is Migration Guide for Turkish Public Administrations, which is led by me. It's a guide that written by 10 people. And the third report is legal, administrative and financial issues of free open source software in Turkish public administrations. It's written by something like 10 people. Yeah. And all those reports are key factors, in fact, in my opinion, for public administrations to adopt free and open source software. But they are by no means ready. They are living documents, they are working documents, and I believe that they will be better and better each time. All the reports include an extensive what should be done in order to foster false productions or false adoption in public administrations. Okay.
Can I just one?
Yeah.
Do you plan that some of these documents become part of a law? Or is there any chance to be accepted?
Most probably the first one will be a forcing law in the future.
I must
the first one.
Yesterday when we were talking about open standards in Bulgarian administration, we have similar proposition. I know it's not a report, but it's a task force that is that will try to push in the legal system the open document format, and all the administration use it. So we'll see what will happen. It's not only on the report level, but it has been already discussed with lots of ministries and all the parties. So that's why I was wondering whether.
Well, we are in really a tough stage. We are in a stage where we are also asking us to see what will happen, okay? And there are some Microsoft initiatives against those reports also that makes us really very, that makes all things really very complicated for us, okay? But I believe that fourth report will be an initiative for a law in the future that will force public administrations in Turkey use and employ open documents and free open source software. Current public administrations outsource their IT needs, their computers, their and for this reason their adoption, mental adoption is very, very slow and sometimes problematic. And all the marketing people who are connected to Microsoft Turkey tries to sell their products to those public administrations. And if they come with a Linux product, then they know that they won't be able to sell those products, or if they sell, they are not going to make a lot of profit from those products. Okay. And there's the fact that Microsoft Turkey has been elected as the first successful Microsoft division in the world regarding marketing and sales, and you can also understand how hard our job is in order to employ and foster development in Turkey. Still, Linux is known to be free or freeware, as our friends have already said in Bulgaria. This is also the case in Turkey. Free means you cannot sell anything, you cannot make profit from it, you can only have fun from it. Okay, this is something like a hacker's job that are doing in their spare time. Some brave public administrations, maybe who are not happy with their outsourcing companies, implement Linux, but I don't believe it's more than 1%. But it is easy with now Pardus, because Pardus can install Linux in your machines in only 5 clicks. Desktop implementations are very rare, but I believe that the implementation percentage will grow up and higher and higher. In Turkey, there are 3 companies who work actively. One is Red Hat, who has more than 600 corporations, customers, yeah. And Novell Turkey is working in Turkey also. They have less number of customers, and Madriva is trying to get into Turkish market also nowadays. And some other companies who are not directly involved in Linux, but who are indirectly supporting Linux is IBM and Oracle that work with Red Hat and Nova. Okay? And there are tens of mailing lists and countless of forums related to free open source software and Linux which are geared towards Linux users and Linux developers in Turkey. However, we do not have any news server. In Bulgaria, is there a news server? News server? No?
NNTP?
NNTP, yeah?
No.
No? Okay. There are more than 3,000 inhabitants or subscribers in the mailing list hosted by Linux users, not Linux Users Group, but Linux Users Association Turkey server. We have a TürkForge which holds many Turkish projects at the moment. We have more than 60 open source projects listed in Linux Users Association Turkey server. And the motivating factor for all those developers is the publicity, and there is a need for those developers in corporate positions, and they love to work on and they love to hack on free and open source software. Since Linux is the poster child, those hackers or developers are quickly becoming the poster child because they are right after Linux. And majority of those developers have a university degree, and these items are main concerns that hold them, that keep them running, working with Linux. I'm not going to dive into all the details about those items, but they always say Microsoft is already, and they already have a working operating system. So why should I work on a Linux system? Because they already provide me .NET and C#, etc. For example, they always say I cannot run a software, and if they say it is most of the time impossible for a student to switch from Windows to Linux. Most of the time, because of monetary problems, a student has a tendency to switch from Windows to Linux because he cannot find a Linux box to log into and to work on. Okay, that's it.
Thank you very much. It was really interesting. How did it proceed?
You said that
Do you have any funding for it?
Yes, those 16 developers, those smiling developers are paid by government. Not 16, but 16.
And how others managed to get
Money?
funding and support from the government?
Government decided to build a generous distribution and fund those people. They found me first.
Do you know who told the government, who explained them what free and open source is?
Good.
Because here in Bulgaria, I think we should taught the government what this is, because they really don't know what this is.
You mean the starting point of Parvus?
Yes.
I don't know if I should explain it to you, or I don't know. Yes. Something corporate. Okay, I will tell you later, okay?
Okay.
Really, I'm very sorry, but sometimes we are not allowed to talk about something, okay? And I don't want to lie to you. So I'm sure you understand me, okay?
Yes,
so maybe later, when everything is clear on the web page, then I will cut and copy to your email address, okay?
Well, essentially, the army liked the idea of having a national operating system.
Yes, related with the army. Very related with the army. and you will see that there will be some implementations, some migrations in the army very soon.
Yeah, migrate please.
So it might be the largest distribution on the world. Yeah, huge army.
Don't worry, other armies have it too. So.
Okay, it's about KD and remote translation. I wanted to ask whether you translate documentation, because here we have this problem that
Yeah, this is our main problem, and the percentages I have given to you only include the graphical user interface translations, and they do not include documentation. And in fact, it's a problem, a huge barrier to find adequate translators, adequate number and quality of translators in order to motivate them into translating documents.
So you don't have any funding for financial support for the KD and remote translation?
No, are you going to find one?
No, I'm just asking
Okay.
because here the KD and the GNOME teams succeeded to find some governmental support, financial support, although it was related to most problems. And finally, I think it was not used fully. Am I right? It was only used percent. Okay. Any other
Is there
questions?
focus on security and privacy within distribution? Yes.
1.1 will be bundled with a very good security software with Pardus. But at the moment, 1.0, there is no security software.
And will its own development or your own development?
Developed from scratches, because we couldn't find a suitable, easy to use desktop security system for Pardus, and we are developing one from ground up.
You told us that.
And to tell you the truth, all developers only use Python in order to code the underlying software for Pardus. We only use Python and nothing else. And this really speeds up the development. You know, they use Python, not any other thing.
Maybe just add something. What Georgian has told is the initiatives and maybe thinking from the point of view of public administration. But it is worth to say that lots of independent initiatives, either in developing software, also adopting and using free software. And for instance, the one we have just realized that there's a university in Izmir called Izmir Trade and Economy University, something like that. It is founded by the trade chamber of the city. They fully run on Linux distribution, all system, the documentations. They even give laptops to the students, Linux installed. That was just one independent example, and we can find many of such independent initiatives.
One more question. What's the situation with piracy in Turkey, with software?
I don't think so. I mean, I haven't come to such a situation and I have never heard of it, but BSA is really working hard in order to prevent people and organizations to use pirated software, but sometimes in such a nasty way, and sometimes with nasty advertisements. For example, they say that they will keep you out from your organization, they will take you out, they will put you in prison, they will force you to pay $100,000 and something like this if you use pirated software or something like this.
So it's not a common issue in your country, piracy, software piracy?
What do you mean by common? I mean,
a lot of piracy.
there's 70% of pirated software in Turkey.
That's an issue. Always using a pirated version.
Yeah, most of the time, yeah. If the home users do not buy their OEM software or EM software from those who are selling hardware, yes, people mostly use pirated software.
Okay, well, if there are no more questions, we can continue with the presentation of
Thank you very much.
project. Thank you very much.